Good afternoon, folks. Thanks for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd, and much quieter conditions are setting in for a good chunk of the area. We'll get to all that in a minute. Today's forecast made possible by United Way of Northeast Louisiana and their 211 initiative. If you or someone you know needs a safe place tonight, dial 211 for real-time shelter locations. And again, it's a good number to know as severe weather season starts to kind of pick back up in the next couple of weeks. A check of the water vapor imagery to start things off this afternoon, and you can see the trough of low pressure and kind of the indelible mark it's left on the upper level pattern. That trough of low pressure is swinging a cold front through the region, still working its way through the area, but we're still kind of on the leading edge of this boundary. So the air mass behind it still has to sink in. You can see the drier air moving in as well. And that's going to set us up for a pretty nice weekend. Check of the satellite across the area, and this is a high-res visible satellite just focused on our region. And still quite a bit of afternoon cloud cover. There's a little bit of wraparound moisture associated with this trough of, I don't want to call it wraparound moisture because it's not a closed-off upper low, but there's still a lot of lingering cloud cover that's making its way through the area. And at the surface, with the surface low, there's still quite a bit of cloud circulation associated with that. So we're kind of catching the back end of those clouds. The drier air starting to filter in as well from north to south, and so that'll kind of zap the last of the cloud cover as we head through the nighttime hours tonight. That said, wraparound cloud cover sometimes yields wraparound moisture, and we have scoured out some very, very light sprinkles on the radar. Radar products made possible by Browns Roofing, brownsroofingla.com. And you can see the very spotty showers that have popped up across northeastern Drew County and northern Chico County. Couldn't even make their way into Ashley County. Is some of this reaching the ground? Possibly. Is it going to make a big difference? No. Air's starting to get progressively drier, and so the last of this rainfall and moisture kind of gets zapped as we go through the afternoon. El Dorado did break a rain record yesterday. 4.77 inches of rainfall, and that's per the National Weather Service in Shreveport. The old record was 2.81 inches of rain set 20 years ago, back in 2005. And yes, 2005 was 20 years ago, even though that's hard to believe. So again, new record yesterday in El Dorado, 4.77 inches of rain. Again, a lot of these rain totals are unofficial, and a lot of them are radar estimated, so that's why the 4.77 doesn't pop up. But again, radar estimates a lot of areas picking up 5, 6+ inches of rain as you look at how things kind of shook out yesterday. Farther southward, those rain totals were a little bit later in the day, but we're still quick to move in. What did that do to our local rivers and lakes? Well, or local rivers, I guess I should say. It didn't do much. Again, Thatcher was already fairly low, and with a forecast crest expected to be really this afternoon, I don't expect any dramatic changes there. Felsenthal, kind of the same story. We will see a subtle rise this afternoon. As of this morning, was at 65.16 feet. It'll go up to 65.3. So again, nothing dramatic on the rivers and lakes, but we'll obviously keep an eye on those as we go through the fall months. And again, just another product that's available to bring to you. Here's Camden. Camden actually probably saw the most significant rises. Thatcher kind of and Felsenthal kind of secondarily. But the other thing with this is the fact that the river was so low. It can take quite a bit of rainfall at this point, and we don't really run into any significant issues. So the river at Camden climbed from, I believe, 5.5 feet up to 9, almost 9.5 feet where it is currently, and will rise a little bit more before it starts the slow fall, and the impacts farther downstream are even more limited. So again, the river was so low, Mississippi River so low in many regards that we can take quite a bit of rainfall without a whole lot of hazard. Let's not say that too loud. We don't want Mother Nature to hear us. That's also going to help us out on the drought monitor. We'll take a look at that later this afternoon. A lot of what we are going to see will be more reflected in next week's drought monitor, but it also depends on if we get any rain between now and then, and the chances look fairly low. Temperatures are in the 70s. It is a pleasant day across the region. Humidity values will continue to drop as well. Look at Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports. And again, temperatures tonight fall generally into the low to mid-60s. Skies will continue to gradually clear. Tomorrow aiming for generally low to mid-80s for highs. Most of us will probably see the mid-80s. Some degree of cloud cover could sneak back in. Futurecast has been kind of wacky in trying to bring some rain back in tomorrow. I don't think that'll happen. But I have bumped up the cloud cover from clear skies to mostly sunny. Not a dramatic change. Saturday morning, very, very nice. If you're heading out for homecoming festivities at ULM, you should be in for a treat. And kickoff temperature will likely be probably in the mid-80s. We'll have your football forecasts, of course, early tomorrow afternoon. And another thing we'll keep an eye on overnight is the possibility of some additional patchy fog. You saw that it kind of popped up there briefly during the morning hours tomorrow. That's something that we'll watch with the soggy ground and the drier air moving in, the potential for some patchy fog development across the area. Saw that in some spots this morning. Gabrielle continues to race off to the east. Still technically considered a hurricane. I was just checking the Hurricane Center's website to make sure that I was receiving the data correctly. But still considered a minimal hurricane, maximum sustained winds at 75 miles per hour there. Umberto is the kind of the leading concern. That's in the center of your screen there. Off to the west is another tropical wave that's really dealing with a lot of land interaction currently. But it has now a 70% chance of development eventually kind of farther down the life cycle over the next week. Just hasn't developed yet. But Umberto is the newest storm. Maximum sustained winds now at 50 miles per hour, moving northwest at about 8 miles per hour. Your tropical forecast made possible by Russell Moore Lumber, your lumber number. Check them out at Desert Street in Monroe. Pretty slow west-northwesterly trek over the next couple of days, and not expected to cover a lot of ground through the rest of this week and into the early half of the weekend, but a slow, gradual intensification is expected of Umberto, perhaps becoming a major hurricane as early as Sunday morning, and then moving off to the northwest, eventually perhaps bringing some rip currents to the mid-Atlantic states, middle parts of next week. It's way too early to jump into a lot of specifics there, but obviously something that we will keep an eye on as we continue through the tropical season. The patchy fog continues to mix out. Most of that is not expected to be an issue, but a spotty shower still can't be ruled out. Again, the patchy fog could return, however, tonight as lows fall into the mid-60s. Rain chances today at around 10%, pretty much close to zero overnight. We'll encounter the morning fog as a possibility, maybe again on Friday, but it is something obviously that we'll watch over the next, watch the morning fog tomorrow morning, obviously, but for Saturday morning, I got my days mixed up there. But I don't think the fog would be as big of a concern for Saturday morning as opposed to tomorrow morning. Mid-80s for highs, morning lows in the low to mid-60s. And I've tweaked the afternoon highs a tad for early next week. We had it 90, 90, 90, brought it 89, 89, 90. Again, I wouldn't be surprised when I update the forecast later for those to go back up to 90. It really just depends on the upper level pattern. There's this weird little pesky upper low feature that could bring some cloud cover our way. And I think the computer models are also kind of trying to deal with the tropical systems out to the east. There's just kind of a lot in flux as we go to the middle part of next week and what happens to the upper level pattern. In the short term, that's pretty much all I have for you. Again, if you're catching us late, fog again tonight, and then it's dry, low humidity, no rain chances over the next week. So again, we've gone from the active pattern back to relatively quiet conditions to round out the rest of the month of September. I'll join you later this afternoon, early this evening, with another look at the forecast. Aside from that, thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm glad you're here.